Hello dear friends, I'm Roland Gunter, homeopath in Royston, Vancouver Island, and today I'm meeting with you inside again. We're not out in nature. Why? Because I want to talk about something serious that's heavy on my mind and on my heart. It's the war in the Ukraine. I would like to introduce you a little bit to a practice coming from the indigenous people from Hawaii, and it's called Ho'oponopono. It was a community healing practice where whatever was happening in the community, everybody took responsibility, assumed responsibility, and did his or her share of healing. And when we look at the war between Russia and the Ukraine, when we all can take responsibility and do a share, I think that could change something. So maybe let's see how can we establish the intimacy that's necessary to do that. And let me take you on a journey or a meditation or contemplation, and we will see how that works. So maybe you take a deep breath, and if you want, you can close your eyes. And let's first get present with where we are. Just feel how our body feels. Be aware of the physical sensations in our body. And just relax where we are. And then let's see how we feel emotionally. When I mentioned the war, maybe there's already emotions being stirred. Maybe there's a fear, maybe there's an anger, maybe there's numbness, and whatever it is, it's welcome. And let's just include that. And then we open up to these images, to the pictures, to the videos that we've seen. Maybe today, maybe last night, on TV, in the news. And whatever that is that touched you, that comes up for you now in your mind, let's just be with that. There's people fighting. There's young men fighting on both sides. Their sons, maybe their fathers, their brothers, their husbands. There's women, there's children that are scared, that are worrying about their family members. There's explosions and destruction, and more war machinery coming. And now let's see, how is that represented? How does that affect us? When we look again, what does that do to my body? Maybe my stomach is churning a little. Maybe my heart is pounding. Maybe the pulse is raising. Whatever it is, or maybe I'm calm. And whatever it is, we allow it to be as it is. And then let's see, how does that affect me emotionally? How do I respond emotionally with that? Maybe there's fear or grief. And whatever it is, let's be with that. And from Russia and the Ukraine, let's come a little bit closer to where we are. And if you're in the US or in Canada, like where I am, or in Germany, or wherever you are in the world, just zoom in onto your nation and have a look at that. How's what's going on in the Ukraine represented there? Is in my nation, are there powers that try to force minorities other groups or political groups or whatever that fight for their power and dominance? Are there minorities that fight for their way to live and for their choices? And if this is a racial minority, or if this is a political minority, or if this is a religious group, or if this is vaccinated or unvaccinated, whatever it is, just look at that. Because wherever that happens, this is how we in our nation also invest energy in this war that in the end leads to this war. And then again, let's have a look at how does that now feel in my body? And how do I feel about that emotionally? And let's be with it. Whatever we find, no need to change anything. Just be with it and be aware of it. And then maybe take another deep breath. And let's further zoom in and look at our family, our closer circle of friends. How is it there? Are there people in the family that are shunned, that are ostracized? Are there people in maybe across the street, or neighbors or friends that I don't talk with anymore because of something, what they did different than I wanted? In my family, who is there excluded, if there is somebody? And again, whatever we find, we allow it to be as it is. We just want to be clear about it and look at it and see how it is represented in our bodies, in our feelings. And be clear that with these things that happen also very closely around us, we contribute worldwide to things like energetically. we contribute to things like this war. And let's take another deep breath and zoom in further. Zoom in into us and to our inner world. Are there parts of myself that are in conflict with each other? Are there parts of myself that dominate and try to get rid of uncomfortable other aspects of myself? When I'm weak, when I'm afraid, can I be with that? Or do I try to get rid of it? When I'm angry, can I be with that? Or do I blame myself then? Who in my inner world has the power? And what in my inner world needs to be suppressed? Do I find Putin within myself? This part of myself that's deeply scared, that's maybe traumatized from the past, and that desperately tries to stay in control, no matter what the price. Maybe I have that. And is there another part then that fights for survival? And whatever I find, let's be with that. And again, look, how's that represented in me, in my body? Do my sensations, the sensations of my body change? Or are they the same then as before? And how about my feelings, my emotions? How do I feel now? And again, we embrace and welcome whatever it is that we find, knowing that these things might be my personal contribution to that war. And when I can take responsibility for it, when I can own that, when I can embrace that, this is how I take out energy dollars out of that war and own it. Let's take another deep breath. And in your own time, you can open your eyes. Being intimate with what happens in the world is an important part of being a part of the solution. When I can find Putin in me, then I can deal with this part. And I can take my share of energetic investment out of this huge conflict outside. When I'm not aware of that, and it just is happening in me, then my energy, the energy that I suppress, goes in a collective system, and somewhere over the world creates some conflict, and I'm part of it. This is what the Hawaiian people teach us. What they say then is, I'm sorry. That means I can feel your pain. I can feel what's going on there. Please forgive me. That means I assume responsibility for my share of what happens. And I love you. That means I send my love, my empathy, and my warm-hearted, loving presence to this conflict on the outside. And then thank you. Maybe that's a way that resonates with you, but maybe there's other ways that you can reach intimacy. Maybe your family comes from somewhere over there. Maybe you have friends that are closely involved in what's happening there. This is also a way to establish intimacy. Or I'm German originally. I live here in Canada, but I'm German. My people have greatly contributed to the trauma load in Europe in the last century. And with great pain in my heart, I acknowledge that this contribution to the trauma load also of the Eastern European and the Russian people. Because lots of these wars are not only fought about things today, they are fueled, they are energized from trauma of the past that still sits in our bones, even if we have not personally experienced it. So also this history of my people for me is a way to be intimate and close with that. And however we manage to be intimate with this process, to that degree we are a part of finding a solution. I hope this can be an idea for you that you might want to follow. Thank you so much for your attention, and I pray for the Ukraine, that something good for Ukraine and Russia, just that something good in the end will come out of it. Thank you for listening.